Welcome, everybody, to episode 15 of our adventures
in Middle Earth.
That's right.
I remember.
You did. Well done. And a bit of a different our adventures this month, simply because we actually did not go to a tournament in the past month.
We did.
We missed it.
Not.
Yeah.
We are going to.
We're going to talk about one we're going to.
Yeah.
And we'll briefly talk about the one that we missed as well.
It's been a long time since we were at a tournament.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
This is like big gap.
I know. So I just made a list here of what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Just to give like a
give an overview.
You know, what do you call that? Table of contents.
Sure.
So we're going to do hobby bingo. It'll be short because
Yeah.
I don't think either of us got much done.
Wait, we got to do intro chat.
Intro chat, right? I think we did that. That's kind of
okay.
Like, yeah.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah.
Please meet you, sir.
So hobby bingo.
Okay.
And then new releases, because there's been a bunch of those.
There's been a few, yeah, including some new hobby paints.
Right on.
Which will
some
maybe
models,
dabble
some
in
treats.
Some treats, yeah.
Battle companies.
Yes.
What changed and what didn't. We're not going to do like a whole review of it. We did a big review of it, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago of the old book.
Yeah.
And the new book came out, so we'll go over that.
We gotta play it a little bit first.
Yeah. We'll talk about the tournament that we missed.
Yep, which is up in Sudbury.
Yep.
It's on a long weekend. It's on my birthday.
Yeah.
So wasn't able to go, but
2 reasons why we weren't able to go.
yeah. Yeah. It's a long weekend up north.
Yeah. The board is set, the pieces are moving.
Yep.
So we're going to do another installment of that.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the barge.
Power attack, brutal power attack.
Right.
Which I got to take advantage of the last tournament.
Yeah.
Was that?
And it's a bit of a confusing one.
It is.
A lot of people play it differently. And honestly, the actual intention of how it's to be played may be different than how some people play it. We're going to talk about the tournament coming up in June that we're all going to.
Just signed up for that today.
Good. I signed up the other day.
Well, I take it.
And then we got Flotsam and Jetsam, which we filmed it seems like forever ago now. A couple months ago, probably.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, where we're talking about the factions in Middle-earth SBG edition, which gained the most and lost the most.
Yep.
So last episode we did lost the most. This episode we're going to do which ones gained the most.
Cool.
So we will start off with some hobby bingo.
Yep, mine's quick.
We just looked at the sheet, and you were kind of a strikeout, right?
I've been working on multiple of them.
Yeah.
I kind of did all the easy ones, so now the ones.
Yeah, it's like our board is pretty filled up, but those are sort of the easier ones, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Okay, and this will be for both of us. Read the book. We know that's going to be the hardest one of all of them.
The Hobbit's pretty short. Oh, it's any book from the trilogy.
Yeah, so you could read like The Fellowship by itself.
I already know what your question is, and no, listening to it on
it's not just
audiobook
it's not just for me. It's for you too, and that is if you listen to the unabridged version of it on audio, does it count as reading the book? Are we counting it or not?
I don't have that ability, so.
What? You can't listen to an audio?
Well, I guess I could. Yeah, I guess I could get it on Audible or something.
Well, it's up to you. If we say we're going to do it, then I'm going to check that box off right now. If we are not,
because you've already listened to it.
I have. Yeah, I've listened to The Hobbit.
Let's roll a die.
Sure.
4+. Yes.
All right.
We're not going to film it though.
Okay. Well, I have to go on our trust.
Is it a 6?
It's a 6.
Guess it means it works.
Okay. So we're going to count listening to an unabridged version on audio as reading the
unabridged.
book. Okay. So
like as in word for word.
Yes. I had Angel bring me home The Hobbit from the library, and I listened to it a couple of times on my commute.
On CD or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, old school. So I'm going to mark that one off. Ha-ha!
On what's that old cassette called now? I can't even remember what it's called. It's like a tape. What's it called though? Like, there's a name for it.
What, audio or
No, like you have CD, and before that you had like
Betamax?
no tape cassette.
VHS?
Well, I know VHS is for video, but like a little
Cassette?
cassette. Yeah,
Yeah.
cassette. Okay, it's just called cassette. I thought it was called something else. Like your old Walkman.
Yeah.
I'd have to get a Walkman and listen to the
Yeah.
unabridged
I had it.
Hobbit while I'm at work.
Okay, so you didn't get anything done, but so I got that, and I also got another one. Buy a model and paint it within 48 hours.
Yep.
So what do you call those ones that they released, the made to order?
Made to order.
Yeah, so made to order, I got a few models with that, and one of them was Cardouche the Firecaller, the orc, painted within 48 hours.
Congratulations.
Boom! Not my best paint job, but...
Honestly, I think that's going to be my last one.
Well, it is hard to do because like I've ordered and received models before, like while we were doing this.
Yeah.
But unless you can like jump on it like the day you get it, you're not going to do it.
Actually, come to think of it, I know exactly which one I'll be doing.
What's that?
A Herald of the Dead. If Games Workshop ever
Yeah.
releases one.
Yeah. Well, weren't you hoping that they were going to release it this weekend?
Yeah, UK Games Expo is this weekend, and they come out with like
Nothing?
Blood Bowl and
There's been a lot of
Necromunda.
Blood Bowl.
What else was there? Warcry has some new like Crow faction. Or no, was it Warcry? Anyway,
I don't know.
there was no Hobbit news.
Speaking of that, we're going to talk now about new releases.
Okay.
Because again, just like Battle Companies was kind of like seemed to come out of nowhere, they came out with another book that even more so came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone saw this one coming, The Scouring of the Shire.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've heard and read online,
Yeah.
they put it together in pretty short order. So it makes me wonder if it's going to be
Very close to what
very
they-
close to the old paperback.
It's just an
Scouring of the
updated
Shire.
version for the new shows.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But with that comes
Mhm.
new models.
Yeah, there was a few actually.
There's some ruffian models that I've been told are actually like hero models.
Yeah, well, that's what they posted on. They said they were leader models, which opens up a whole bunch of questions.
Sure.
Because in the rule or in the army list, they don't have leader models that are ruffians. They don't have a profile.
They could just be like Bob, Bill, and Jim.
Yeah, they could be.
Todd.
Yeah, but you know, maybe like in the new book,
Yeah.
are they, you know, in the previous book, Gondor at War, the big thing in there was legendary legions for
Sure.
like, of course there was a ton of scenarios, and of course in this book is going to be a ton of scenarios.
Yeah.
But then sort of for the competitive sort of match play guys, they had legendary legions.
Thinking they're going to be a
Well,
legendary legion
I don't know.
ruffian army?
I don't know. Are they, or is it not going to be a thing? Who knows? They may have the legendary legion for the what's his name, the orc that rides in and attacks, and they knock his head off. Is it Glorfimble or something like that?
Gorfumble or something?
Yeah,
we
something
have
like
them
that.
all.
I know.
We're like, let's get them.
Yeah, we don't need to get him. We have him already. Had him all this time. He's still not painted.
Well, hold on. If all this stuff's coming out, they better bring out a Herald of the Dead model before.
Well, yeah. So the other thing too is, well, let's talk about what they did release in
Okay.
miniatures. They had the ruffian leaders.
Ruffian leaders.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of Hobbit models.
Yeah.
Was there a redo of the leaders for that, or no? They're
No.
just the basic.
No. They look like just basic generic hobbits.
Okay.
Um,
But they had bows and clubs and
various weaponries. Yeah.
axes and hammers and
Yeah,
stuff.
and then they had the
Hobbit holes.
The hobbit hole facade, I guess
Yeah.
you would call it.
The make your hill look like a Hobbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, so all those people with all those hills that are like, these hills look boring. Let's
Yeah.
spice them up.
Well, yeah, like the ones I have that
Yeah.
I made like 3 barrows.
Yeah.
Like years ago, and then we never used them. So last year we needed a hobbit hole for our tournament, and so I'm like, well, using one of these because it's
Yeah.
already done, and so
Get out the knife.
I converted it into a hobbit hole. It worked out great.
That'd be perfect for
so
these kids.
the other 2 that I have, guess what's going to happen to them?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for those.
Yeah, and it's a 2-sided facade. So you have like on one side you have one design, and on the other side of it there's a completely separate
Oh,
design.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So it's kind of like two models in one. You can
Oh.
decide which
Cool.
side you want to.
So you could like, there's
Yeah.
multiple, hundreds of different
Yeah.
configurations.
Yeah.
No
So-
two hobbit
So I
holes
guess
the
if you
same.
have like a very accurate saw, you could like saw that thing in half and make two out of it. But I don't think I'd give that a try.
Like, break in a million pieces.
Yeah, but the one thing that I want to know too is that one of the models that's required for all of the scenarios in that book, the ruffian models, we can't get them anymore.
Which one's that?
Ruffians, period.
Oh, yeah.
So like
They're coming out with those.
so is that going to
Don't
be
kid yourself.
what they've shown right now? If they are actually ruffian leaders, well then there's probably going to be ruffians coming out as well.
Maybe. Maybe they'll just do a made-to-order thing again.
Well, we'll have to.
One
wait
thing
and
that
see.
this made-to-order stuff has shown me is that they still have the molds.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're just...
They always used to
It's
say
like, where are
that
the
back
molds?
in the day.
They're
yeah.
way in the back, underneath everything. We just gotta
Yeah.
move them, and it takes a while.
Well, it may be that they don't have all of the molds, but they have some of them still.
Sure. Like, some things do get
Yeah.
lost or broken.
Or they just, after so many pulls, they're not usable anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, the one thing is when this came out, and it was a bit of a surprise to everybody. How do you say this? Like, it wasn't like, I think this is the first release that wasn't universally cheered. Like
Yeah.
hooray!
It was
you
like,
know?
yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, like the competitive players are less enthusiastic about the release,
Sure.
so it seems.
Yeah. I was like, oh, hobbits. That's cool. When am I getting my herald models?
yeah. Like, I have a Hobbit army and
Sure.
a bunch of ruffians, and like a few
No,
years
it's-
ago, I
it's
ran
fun.
some of these scenarios.
Like, some people, that's
at
what
a
they
game.
like to do.
So for me, it's good because I already have the stuff for this.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're updating it and releasing some new models is great. But yeah, for competitive wise, it's curious to see if anything will change the existing army lists for what is it, Sharky's Rogues or whatever, and the Shire.
Probably get stuff.
Yeah, we'll see.
Who
And I
knows?
wonder, like, maybe Legendary Legion, maybe not.
Yeah.
But we'll see what it goes. It's I'll buy the book as well. So
I'll wait and see.
you're gonna wait and see. You'll let me buy it and then look at it and be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, this is a hard pass.
Hard pass. Well, they're like anything. It's
Teach
like,
their own,
you
right?
know,
Like, some people will be like, when it came out, I saw all these reactions. People were like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest news ever! I've been waiting for this for a long time."
mhm.
And like, that's great. Like, I'm not particularly into the whole scenario thing. Like, I like the battle companies and that, but
We don't play scenarios.
no, like, we like to be in tournaments or the
Yeah.
the battle company stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like forging my own narrative, not
Yeah.
not running off of something that's already there.
Well, like our time that we spend actually playing match play games,
Yeah,
it's almost entirely at tournaments.
it is.
Like, you and I play the game a lot, but we rarely ever just sit down and have a match play game between us.
It's true.
Because, like, we know we're going to a tournament every month and we're going to get a bunch of games in for that.
Yeah.
So, we shall see. Okay, battle companies.
What's changed and what didn't?
Okay, so we could talk a lot about this, but this is the document that I had when we did our review of it. So I just went through section by section of, these were kind of the things that we pointed out they may want to change or that we did want to see change.
Okay.
And so I just went through them, like,
Let's
item by
just
item.
Go
And
through
so,
them quickly, I guess. We
Yeah.
should do like a really thorough review once we've like got into the game more. Like, I've only played
yeah,
one game, so I don't really have.
I've played a ton already, so...
There's enough of like what I've seen so far. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah, like I agree that we should wait, because like the last time, a lot of I'm not going to say problems, but let's
Yeah.
just say problems. A lot of the problems with the last edition were not within the first 6 games.
No.
It was like when you like played a battle company, like
For 15
for
games.
beyond that, and
Yeah.
things started to sort of shake apart a little bit in some areas.
For sure.
So like we'll plan to do that later on down the road as well, but just a brief
Okay.
overview of it now. One was that like some factions don't have any warriors that can advance.
Yeah. Billy,
Iron Hills, for example.
You need to make up like new model names for stuff for a lot of those factions. So.
Yeah. So we wanted to sort of see that, like, you know, even though you have an Iron Hills warrior, let's say, and he's an elite warrior, can't he get better somehow? Like, give him something.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they didn't do it. So, but one faction they did it with, and it was the Moria Expedition faction.
Okay.
Which is kind of the one that I'm playing. And it's the, they put in a rule there for Dwarf Rangers.
Okay.
And it's just like an extra rule that they can get, and I can't even remember what it is. If I can quickly locate it here.
But it's just, is it something they can promote?
Yeah,
into,
like it's
or?
like if you have here it is, a Moria Expeditionary. So it's a dwarf ranger that does not suffer the -1 to hit for moving half its move allowance and shooting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they can get that. So they sort of made that special rule up as an advancement for a regular.
Yeah,
thing.
like they could have
So,
done stuff like that.
You know, you did it for them. Why don't you do it for the other factions?
Sure.
So,
That's maybe too many special rules.
maybe.
But that's what this game is. It's all
It
about
is.
guys getting special rules. So
Yeah, yeah. What's the next one? So consider giving warriors that fail their promotion roll like a better chance in the future.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you do it the second or third time, maybe improve the roll. No,
Yeah.
didn't change that.
But like one thing, all this stuff, like
Mhm.
before we get too deep into it, it does say in the book, do whatever you want.
It does.
So
It's
we
yeah.
could house rule that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's the way.
And
it is.
honestly, that's something that actually didn't need to be changed. It's
Sure.
fine the way it is. It just kind of would have been nice. It's just frustrating when you have a guy that can promote and you fail 4 times in a row.
I'm okay with leaving the rule the way it is.
Good.
Because my faction doesn't have any promotions.
Yeah, but we could make up a promotion for your guys.
That's true.
So again, limiting warriors to a maximum of 1 XP per game. We kind of felt that it contributed to like the heroes rocketing out of sight, because what happens is in this version of the rules, as long as you have a bunch of guys in base contact, you can give the kill to whoever you want.
Yeah.
Right. So as soon as the warrior that's in the combat already has an XP, then it
Yeah.
all goes to the heroes. Heroes.
Welcome to my extra attack guy 1.
Yeah. So that didn't change. Here,
Sure.
warriors can still only get 1 XP per game. So far, they haven't changed anything that we wanted to see change. Not enough influence in the game. So players end up spending most of their influence on reinforcements because adding more guys to your warband is so important.
Yeah.
This to me was a big thing that needed to change in there. Didn't change really. It seemed early on that they kind of recognized that though, because a lot of the missions that came out in White Dwarf, they had like extra influence available in those missions.
Yeah, it's like you could get an extra one. Right?
Yeah,
There
so-
was a chart you could roll.
So they
yeah.
didn't really change it, but they did kind of add a few missions where you can grab an extra few influence. Plunder the camp, baggage train being a couple of them.
Yeah.
So kind of a good compromise.
One thing I was thinking, like, you know, like all the scenarios have their different flavor, but
Mhm.
like maybe every mission you add 3 objective markers on the table in a random
Mhm.
spot, and your guys can collect those objective markers, and then at the end of the game you roll a die for each objective marker, and if you get like a 6, it can
Or
be.
you could have a chart.
You can have a chart, yeah.
And
it
you
could be
roll
one
for
of those.
each one. And
That's what I mean. Like if you roll
Yeah.
a 6, and maybe it is something worthwhile keeping, and then you roll on the chart and see
Yeah.
what it is.
it's a good idea.
It does. Like it would add more to the game, because you could be like, my guy could either sit here and do nothing, or I could go towards that objective over there,
Right.
and it might split up the.
Well, more on influence was another thing was maybe make some of that influence that you can only spend on equipment.
Sure.
Because like I said, they sort of the default is you get enough to buy a reinforcement, you buy a reinforcement.
Well, they could have a second currency option too, where
Yeah.
instead of influence, which is you're influencing people to
Yeah.
join your party.
The thing is that like the sort of the role playing part of battle companies,
Yeah.
you know, it's the character progression, but it's also the equipment, and people just don't buy the equipment enough.
No, because you usually lose
Because
a guy.
well,
major.
the influence is so valuable to spend on reinforcements that you're just like, well, I could like use this 1 gold to buy a rope, or contribute to my next reinforcement roll.
Getting a
well,
+1 to my die roll.
Yeah, so you know what you're going to spend it on. So
I like the idea of adding like a second currency. Like if you win, you get 4 influence and 2 gold. If you lose, you get 2 influence and 1 gold.
Well, because influence is like your renown, like how famous your
Sure.
warband is. That's what attracts
You're influencing
new. Yeah,
people
that's what
to come
attracts
to
new
your-
people to your warband. But like cold hard currency is
Yeah.
still, you know, an
You need-
option.
You need money to buy stuff.
And equipment, we sort of suggested too that like it needs more equipment.
Yeah.
The equipment is great, but it's like a short list, and it would be cool if there was more added. So they did add a few things, but it's not like they doubled the amount of equipment. They added a few scrolls and, you know, a backpack and a couple of other small things.
But they did add stuff.
They did add like probably half a dozen things, something like that. We said the point value for special rules needed to change. It was at 10 for everything.
Yeah.
And some were just not worth 10, and some were worth more than 10.
Yeah.
So they did change it. I think they recognized that it was making the characters too expensive. Yeah.
Ooh, what did we have? Manhunter at the end of it? He was like
I don't even know.
150
He's over
points or
100,
something.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's not Aragorn level good.
No.
Even though he was good, he's just not.
They changed it across the board to 5.
Oh,
So
okay.
so some abilities that were too cheap before are now like really cheap.
Yeah.
But others, you know, are more in line, right?
That'll happen.
Yeah. This was a big one, the next one.
The
And
paths.
it's something that really needed to change.
Yeah.
Because, like, the characters, you know, after 10 games, after 15 games, the heroes were ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't even need to roll on that chart anymore because I have everything.
Yeah,
from
you can
there.
get so much. And so what really needed to happen was they needed to put a cap on the number of special rules that a hero can get. Because if you look in the book, like, nobody has more than 5 special rules.
Yeah.
Maybe 6. Maybe there's one character that has 6. Who knows? But in the old battle companies, you could get like easy 10 special rules.
Yeah.
Now they've introduced it with the paths. So within a path, there's only 4 or 5 special rules within a path. So you can only get those until you've got everything out of that path. And probably at that point you would retire that character anyways.
Yeah.
But if you completely get all of everything in a path and your faction special rule, you can start going on another path. So you can get more. But at that point your character is going to cap out at, like, I forget what it is, 110 XP I think is the
Yeah,
max.
he'd be so valuable that you'd be better off
so
not using him because it's like, I'm fighting against a guy that has not played a game before. I'm going to use my warband.
So we had talked a lot about running a narrative campaign again, and we didn't expect the new rules to come out, so we were going to address that ourselves.
Yeah.
And the way we had it all set up was that all the special rules would have prerequisites, like in order to get this special rule, you already have to have this.
Sure.
Right? So the paths is addressed the same thing in a different way, and it's great. I love the paths. That was a great idea. It's kind of like character classes. The other one was, in the old rule, if you rolled on a chart for shooting and you rolled something that you already had, you could pick whatever you wanted.
Now you're
Which went that, like, immediately you would grab the rules, special rules that were really good, like provided extra might or whatever. So now it's not like that anymore. If you roll something you already have, you just get to re-roll until you get something that you don't have. This one here was one that I understand, and it's wound recovery.
Yeah.
I understand why they have it the way that it is, and that is basically if you have a wound, arm wound, leg wound, old battle wound, you have to get knocked out in a game in order to have a chance to heal that wound. On the surface, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems like to me that they should have had something in the game where, like an equipment item that you could get that would help your guy heal, like outside of getting knocked out in
Yeah.
a game. But I guess in defense of doing it this way is they made it so difficult for heroes to get knocked out, like with a single roll on the injury chart,
Yeah.
that this is kind of the way it is. It's like, yes, okay, you didn't get knocked out. It's very hard to get killed, but you're going to get an arm wound, and if you're unlucky enough to roll that a second time, well, you're gone.
Well, who is Zogluk? No, that's the actual name character.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
One of the characters from Blazing Madness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, our guy,
Galag. Is it Galag? He had an arm and a leg wound. And
he was the guy that we eventually made a sorcerer.
Yeah, but it's because he never got knocked out.
Yeah.
He was too slow to get to the combats.
Yeah.
And he had 2 wounds and I think a
Yeah,
fate.
he had 2 might as well.
Yeah, and 2 might. So he never got knocked out.
No.
And because of that,
He just hung on with his
Yeah.
broken body.
So, like that's one of the reasons why we brought that up is because like you have to get knocked out for your guy to get better. It's like
Yeah.
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
We also identified a whole bunch of special rules. There was probably about half a dozen of them that were like the really good ones. The ones that gave extra free might or like heroic presence you count as a banner. Like they were worth more than 10 points before, and now
Yeah.
everything's worth 5. So there were way more than 5. And you could get all of those if you wanted to keep switching going from shooting to like close combat or whatever.
because you could just be like, oh, I luckily rolled the one really good one in this chart.
Yeah.
So
they've dealt with that also by spreading those out among the different paths.
Mhm.
So like the really good ones, there's usually only one of them available per path.
yeah,
Right. So that was a really good addition. The factions, they added like a whole bunch of new factions as well.
okay,
Most of which were in White Dwarf, but not all of them. You can read these ones. These were the ones that in. Don't worry about those, but like these are the new ones.
So the new ones for the good faction, Osgiliath got its own.
Mm-hmm.
Men of the West, so like a Black Gate style list. The Dead of Dunaharo, which was nice because that's what I'm running. So far those top 3 weren't. Oh no, Osgiliath was in the White Dwarf, wasn't it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Rangers of the North was a White Dwarf one, we know for sure.
Yes.
The Last Alliance, so Elves
I
and
think
Men.
that was also
Airborne Dale.
definitely was White Dwarf.
Moria Expedition was not. It's
Mhm.
something new that's added, probably because of the actual Moria Expedition army in the book. And then Wanderers in the Wild, which is...
It's a mixture of wood elves, dwarf rangers. You get 1 hobbit, and rangers, like human rangers. On the evil side, they had an equal number of new factions added. Cirith Ungol, Minas Morgul, Dunland, which a lot of people were looking for. Sharky's Rogues.
Okay.
Again, another one. Are they coming out with models? Gundabad, so that was one from White Dwarf. Denizens of Mirkwood, again from White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Karna and Kond.
Yeah.
So kind of cool to get people to be able to use those models again. So that's like a lot of factions. I think, what was that, 8 factions good and 8 evil added? So like there's a ton of factions
They
in
more
there
than
now.
doubled the amount.
Yeah. And the same thing kind of happened with the missions. I forget how many they used to have, but they added like a whole bunch of new scenarios
That's
and
good.
missions to the book. So there's a
It's
lot
like-
now.
I can only do kill the cave troll so
Many times. Yeah.
Or like collect this item.
Get ready to kill the cave troll one more
I
time.
know, we had to do that today. I'm okay with it though, because it's new. We've spiced it up a little bit.
We have, yeah. But that's it for Battle Companies. So just kind of like a quick review of the changes in there. So overall, it was excellent, and I think really what come down to is this is kind of the definitive edition now of Battle Companies. The first one was almost kind of like a preliminary sort of version.
Here's some rules. Well, it could have been to do with the fact that Games Workshop didn't have a rule set out.
Yeah.
And everybody was running events and...
Well, everyone wanted it to be released, so they released it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was good. It was good. Like, we had a great time playing through that campaign the first time. I'm not going to
complain about that at all.
No.
So I'm glad they've updated it.
Yeah. What is next on the list here?
Sudbury Tournament.
The one we didn't go to.
Correct.
Which was unfortunate.
It was on May 18th, my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was busy.
Happy birthday. Belated.
Yeah, belated.
So it was called Into the Nickel City, or...
Yeah, I think it was Out of the Frying Pan into the
Nickel City. Yeah, which is kind of the nickname for Sudbury, is the Nickel City.
There is a giant nickel up there.
Yeah.
Haha. That's what Canada... Like, you know, like most places have like a landmark associated with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Sudbury is.
It's the giant nickel, yeah. But we weren't able to go to it, unfortunately, just because we had other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it was the long weekend, which is why we were busy, which is too bad. We should try to get there next year. It was run by Will Schaff.
Yeah.
It would have been really good for us to go and support it. He has himself got like a fairly big group of people playing the game up there now.
Yeah.
Which is great to see, and sort of another sort of hub sort of developing. And I know that a bunch of them are planning on coming down to play in the July tournament in Toronto, TGX.
Cool.
That's what I heard anyway. So that'll be good.
It'll be good to have new faces. Yeah. No, like I wanted to go. I don't like want to avoid any tournaments. Like it was the long weekend, and I had other stuff.
And Derek and Ronan Satnick did make the trek up there.
They did.
Yeah, so I think they ended up with like 10 or 12 players. So it was it's a smaller event, but good enough to have, like we always say, as long as I have enough to play 4 different people in one day, that's all I need.
Yeah.
So that was good. And Derek and Ronan did a video covering the event on their YouTube channel, Era Quinn Caladrum. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So go over to their channel and check out their coverage of that tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were there, so they have the best point of view, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So at this point, we're going to cut in the board is set, the pieces are moving.
You can hear us talk about barging.
That's right. So we will cut that in here.
Star wipe.
All right, I am here on my own. Garrett has had to leave, but I'm gonna walk us through the barge brutal power attack. So I'll start off quickly just by reading the rule out here. Using its considerable bulk, the monster forces those around it to stumble back from the fray, giving the monster the chance to advance once again. All enemy models involved in the fight, even supporting spear or pike-armed models, must back away a full 3 inches instead of the usual 1 inch, in an order and direction chosen by the monster model's controlling player. Models may still make way for losers, in which case they are also moved 3 inches in a direction chosen by the monster model's controlling player. If it is possible for the monster model's controlling player to choose a direction in which they can move a model the full 3 inches, then they must do so. Any models that cannot back away or make way the full 3 inches are moved as far as possible, then placed prone. After a barge has been completed, the combat immediately ends, so no further strikes or brutal power attacks may be resolved. Once all the models have backed away, Instead of making strikes, the monster now moves up to d6 inches in any direction, including making a further charge if it wishes. If the monster uses this move to charge another model, it will fight again in that phase. The player with priority chooses when to fight this new combat. A monster cannot use the brutal power attack in the same turn that it also participates in a heroic combat. Only one or the other may be used in a single turn. Okay, so that's the rule here, and I've got a little situation set up here using the cave troll. You can see he's got some orcs around him, and he's up against some Minas Tirith warriors, Rangers of Gondor. I've even got a Citadel Guard in there, and we've got Faramir here. So normally this brutal power attack is where you're going to try to burst through a line and get to a more valuable target at the back. So in this case, the troll is going to try to get to Faramir. So what would happen here is you would roll the dual roll as normal, and we would assume that's already been done and that the troll has won. So in the first example, what we'll assume here is that we have 2 warriors of Minas Tirith with shield backed up with 2 Rangers of Gondor with spear, and we will assume that the spear armed models did support in this fight, but they still lost. So probably the troll rolled a 6, let's say. So what happens now is all the models in the fight, even supporting models, get moved back 3 inches. So what that will mean is the troll player chooses what direction they go in. So these models will all move back like this and like this. And I'm just going to approximate 3 inches here. So because there is an available alley for them to move the full 3 inches, they must choose that. Once that's happened, the troll player will roll a dice, try to get this on camera, and roll a 4, and that's how far they can move again. So he can go in any direction, and in this case he's going to want to go into Faramir. And that's it. Brutal power attack done. Simple, right? Not really. That's a very simple example of it. It gets a lot more complicated when there's more models involved. So I'll just set this back up again. And we'll add a couple more models into the fray here, just to clog things up a little bit. So now what happens in the same situation is those 4 models which participated in the fight are all going to get moved. Now, if I want to move this model first, I don't have a lot of choice. So I can move here, like in this direction, but obviously this model here is in the way. So it's up to the decision of the owner of this model if they want to make way with that model. Okay, so what would happen in that case is this model would make way 3 inches, and the troll player would choose which direction. Well, let's suppose he goes over here, and then these models would move again, just like they did in the previous example. Okay, and in that case nobody gets knocked prone. Put them back. Now what happens here is, though, it says here in the rule, if it's possible for the monster models controlling the player to choose a direction in which they can move the model the full 3 inches, then they must do so. Any models that cannot back away or make way the full 3 inches are moved as far as possible and then placed prone. So you're not knocked prone normally. If you can move 3 inches, you don't get knocked prone. It's only if you can't move 3 inches. So if this model was going to move this way 3 inches and it's going to run into this model, it's up to the owner of this model to decide, am I going to let this model make way, or is this guy going to stop here and then be knocked prone? And then what that's going to mean is this model here, in this case he might be able to go this way 3 inches. If he wasn't able to go that way 3 inches, he's going to end up coming in another direction, and then if you don't want to make way with this model, he's going to get knocked prone. Coming to these models, there's probably no way to move this guy 3 inches, so you're going to hit other models. So then again, it's up to the Ministerius player here. Okay, I'm going to move this guy in this direction. Do you want to make way with him or not? So if he says no, then he knocks prone there. If he wants to move him 3 inches, the troll player decides which direction, so he's going to go there, and then he can come out here. And then this guy, he's got a laneway now, so he's got to take it, so he moves to there. Right? So it's up to the non-monster player to decide if he wants to make way with troops that are going to be in the way, and that's where this rule gets a little bit complicated. The rule face value, like when it's wide open like this, it's very simple. There's not much question to what happens. This guy moves back 3, this guy moves 3, moves 3, moves 3, roll a d6 for you move. Done. It's when there's a lot of other models preventing models to move where it gets complicated. Or even in an example like this, where if I'm the Ministerius player and I fight this combat and I say, okay, I am not going to support with these 2 models even though they can support, and I'm going to shield with these 2 models, and then he still loses the duel roll. Well, these models are no longer part of the combat. They did not support. So when it comes time to barge, it wouldn't really make sense for the troll to choose to barge, because there's nowhere for these models to go. Basically, he would end up moving this direction or right up against this guy, and then the Ministerius player would decide again, are you gonna make way or not? Nope. Okay, then he gets knocked prone right there. So why would you barge? You don't. So if you think somebody is going to barge against you and you don't want to get barged, then don't support with the spear guys. Just leave them out of the combat. Sure, you may lose the combat, but they don't have to move. It's the choice of this player. The downside is if they do move back 3 inches and the troll player gets to choose the direction. So maybe he would choose a straight line this way and then this way. Well, they don't get knocked prone. So that's good. But if they do that, then the troll is going to get what he wants, and that's to get at the more valuable target. So that's really what barge is in a nutshell. It's a pretty simple rule, but it can get complicated when there's crowds of models around. And most commonly you see this used when a monster can get at a hero. Okay, so here's another situation where the troll is surrounded in this combat and is probably going to get killed because it's badly trapped. But if the troll player barges in this situation and wins the duel, like all of these models, assuming they participated in the fight, are going to get pushed back. So it's a way for like a monster to like escape a bad situation. And you can move these models in the direction you want. And you're not even so much caring that you're going to knock these guys down. It's, you're more about keeping the troll alive to fight another day, right? So it's not always used just to go after another enemy that might be exposed, you can also use that move to get your monster out of a really bad situation and get him back in with his own troops. Anyway, that's Barge. Hopefully that's been explained well enough. Love to hear the comments on that if you think I got it wrong or there's any other really good uses for Barge. Love to hear it. Alright, so that was all you need to know about Barge.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it went well.
Hopefully you learned something.
So what's next for the tournament?
Well, the next one is in June, which we are in right now. It is the 3rd, I believe, today.
Yeah.
Can't believe that. It's already the 3rd of June. No, 2nd. My bad. It's on the 15th.
It's called the King's Hall.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not in Ottawa. It's, I forget
It's
what.
in Montreal.
No, it's not Montreal.
Not Montreal, sorry. It's in Quebec.
Yeah.
It is literally the other side of
the river.
The
The Ottawa River, yeah. And is it Aylmer? No, I forget the name of the town that it's in. Anyway, the link to it is on the OSBGL Facebook group.
Yep.
And it's on the 15th.
600 points.
600 points. It's a 100-point event in
It
the
is.
OSBGL, so
It's a big one.
it's going to draw all the competitive guys.
Yep.
Because those are the tournaments you got to do well in order to win the league. You
Yep.
can win all the 80-point events you want, and it's not going to help you win the league.
Well, if you win 4 80-point events,
Well,
you're pretty good.
Put it this way: the person that's going to win the league, maybe one of their points out of your 4 best for the year, maybe one
Yeah.
of them is going to be from an 80-pointer, and it's probably going to be 80 points.
Yeah. Well, like if you get 4 and 80, it's 320 points
Mm-hmm.
out of a possible 400. I think Drew won with 367.4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The number isn't stuck in my head for some
Okay,
reason.
I'll take your word for it.
Sure, I just randomly made it up.
Yeah.
So it's not like you basically have to place really high
Yeah.
in a 100-pointer and then win 3 80-pointers and you'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
But like getting a high, like coming within the top 5 probably of a 100-point event,
It's good.
you're going to end up with more than 80 points. So
Yeah.
that's what you really want. So if you're really looking to win the league, these are the events that you got to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do well. So this one in June, and then TGX in July is another 100-pointer.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm not sure.
We've already had a 100-point.
We had one 100-pointer so far.
It's Derek's event. Why can't I remember the name of it?
Council of the Wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So this tournament is 600 points,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have at least 1 converted model or a display board, preferably both.
Yeah.
So
You got that? You know what you're taking yet, or
no,
not sure?
but it has to be something converted. So probably something that I already have done.
Okay. So you're either going to be taking
If I
the
take
Army of the Dead.
yeah, I gotta paint up Harold Mall for that, which would be a conversion, and I have a display board, so get both levels. I could do Army of Thror, which I've converted a Banner Bear, and I have a display board, so I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could do maybe Harad, but I don't have a converted model and I don't have a display board, so that one's gonna get swept under the rug.
So for me, I'm trying to play Khazad-dûm this year.
Sure.
So that was my immediate go-to to play in this event. The only problem with that list is it's not the most competitive list out there, in spite of the fact that I did well with it in my last tournament.
Yeah.
So I was looking to do a slightly more competitive army, and then I remembered we said earlier in the year, like forget about the competitive stuff, like bring what you want, whatever. So I'm gonna go back to my Isengard simply because I have a pretty major converted model.
Yeah.
for that army that I have never put on the table yet. Haven't finished it.
Gotta do it.
So this is what I'm gonna do for this one. I'm gonna finish that model.
And it's been in your backlog for over a year.
It has.
So
I already got that box done though. So
oh, do you?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I do. No, we'll look at it later. So I'm gonna bring Isengard,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be a pure Isengard. That's gonna be my sort of. I'm bringing 2 warbands, one from Isengard and one from something else. So it's not going to be a pure list.
Cool.
That's my sort of ode to the competitive.
I'll
part
probably
of
end
the
up
tournament.
bringing my Den of Dunharrow just because I said that I wanted to play it the most this year.
Yeah.
And I did my one fun converted list last time with the treants, so
Right on.
we'll talk about how that turned out.
Yeah, so next episode we'll...
Maybe I'll do on the road episode.
And on the road. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. But we will come back and give you our results and some pictures and all that from that event, just because, that's what our adventures is all about. It's, we're not necessarily covering like every event that we have in the league here in Ontario, but we want to talk about the stuff that we go to.
Yeah, that's why it's called
our
Our Adventure.
Right. Okay, so the last section.
Flotsam
And Jetsam.
Jetsam, yeah.
And this we've already got
Right.
already got filmed.
Already got it queued up, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was a while ago now that we filmed that, eh?
I want to say it was sometime in April
Yeah, I think you're right.
or early May.
So last episode we talked about factions that lost the most in the new Middle-earth strategy
And
battle
when
game
we posted
edition.
it, some people brought up some more.
Yeah, namely one of them.
Yeah.
And we did kind of, I don't know, we must have just missed it or what, but we kind of got confused because we put Rangers in there as one of the ones that lost the most, but
Yeah.
really they didn't lose anything because they were never a faction before.
True.
So our bad on that.
Yeah, oops.
But what it was they were pulled out of the Arnor faction.
Okay.
So they pulled all of those models out of the Arnor faction and made
Yeah.
a new faction called Rangers, and we decided that they lost enough to be on the list. Well, really, not really, because they never were their own faction
No.
before. We should have picked the other one,
Which is Arnor.
Arnor.
Because Arnor lost the thing that we said was the worst.
Yeah, they lost all of the stuff that
They lost the twins
the
as
Rangers,
well.
and they lost the twins.
And
They-
Aragorn.
They lost a lot. Like Arnor almost was reduced down to what like Numenor is.
Yeah.
It's like a couple of named characters and some warriors.
But not as strong as Numenor.
No. Yeah. So, Arnor should definitely have been on the list, and thank you, Ben Boomer, for pointing that out to us. Appreciate the comment.
Yeah.
So this episode we're going to talk about factions that gained the most, and hopefully we get it right this time.
I hope so.
I hope so. Okay.
If our number one isn't right,
It
then-
can't. It has to be the number one. I don't think there's any debate over it.
Yeah, if there is, put in a comment.
It's like number 4 is here, and number 3 is here, and number 2 is here, and number 1 is like way up here.
It's
Right?
like, how could I have not won first for best
I know.
improved?
Okay, so let's cut that in now, and we will come back for a brief
Send off.
send off. We ended up.
We limited ourselves.
Yeah, we limited it to 5,
Because
and
we could just keep talking for days.
yeah, it
Yes.
was shocking that like the vast majority of the discussion about armies that improve were almost unanimously all good armies.
Yeah.
There's one that made our list, and I think if we were to add like 3 more armies to this list, they would all be good armies.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's not that the evil armies have bad armies. This is about like what's improved the most.
Mhm.
And a lot of evil armies gained a little bit and lost a little bit, so they netted out to gaining a little or losing a little. Whereas good armies mostly netted out to gaining a lot.
Well, we know sort of the focus of the what I'm trying to say. The focus of the changes in the new edition were aimed at getting big heroes back on the table.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And big heroes are mostly in the good armies.
Yeah.
So it really ended up that most of the armies that got better are good armies because they're ones that have the big heroes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, like you could say the Balrog, it got way better, but like there's certainly a very short list of evil models that qualify there.
Yeah.
Whereas on the good side, there's like an incredibly long list of big hero models that got improved.
Yeah.
But they got improved twice over. They got improved from their stat line, and they got improved from magic being dropped.
Well, just the changes in the rules. Like for now, it's much easier to stay on your horse now in this edition than it was in the previous edition for a variety of reasons. So that just helps heroes across the board. But again, it's almost universally good heroes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got 5. Number 5.
My old army.
This is yours.
Your old army.
They got good, but
They improved a fair amount.
We're just talking about improvement
I know.
from previous to now.
they're specific. Okay, so we're talking Army of Thor.
Yes, we are.
Army of Thor.
The Grimhammers got like huge buffs.
They
They
did.
got, they got that love.
Their point cost didn't change, so like they went from defense 6 to defense 7, which is
huge.
it's big.
Yeah.
Like that strength 4.
Yeah, you now need a 6.
Yeah.
instead
Running
of
the
Well,
five.
before it was like, hey, I'm running into a wall of strength 4 defense 6 guys. Okay, I need 6s to wound you, and you need 5s to wound me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a freaking dwarf. You have the armor, but I'm losing out in this. So they got that. But the big thing was the throwing weapon buff made them a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Because I think the last time I used the list, I killed so many models on the charge in.
Yeah.
Like, you're going from hitting on 33% of the time to hitting on 50% of the time when you're charging in. It's like a huge buff.
It is.
So you can charge into 2 guys, and in most cases, if they're a lower defense, you're going to take one of them out before you even get
Well,
there.
and just now because the throwing weapons have improved, if the other guy is just at the outskirts, right? Like you can actually skirmish a little and like, oh, you thought I was going to charge this turn? Wrong.
Yeah,
I'm going to.
I'm just going to hurl 30 axes at you.
Yeah, and then hope to get priority next turn and charge and hurl 30 more axes at you.
Yeah, they're a little bit slower, so a lot of people would hang back like 5.5 inches, and you're like, ooh, big mistake, buddy.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that. Thor's bonus is he can take the Kingsguard, which affect the Grimhammers, again. So from 11 points to 12 points, they go from strength 3 to strength 4.
That's huge.
But it's only models in his warband, so it's that limiting to specific hero warband.
So
Good thing he's a hero legend, though.
He's a hero
Only
legend.
those 18 guys.
So my focus has shifted from having Grimhammers everywhere to Thor has 18 Grimhammers with this rule, and then I don't have any Grimhammers anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have the shields.
Yeah, I take like young Thorin, young Dwalin, and they have the shield spear, or the shield
Guys,
dwarves, as like the addition. And they're like the second wave.
You know, and like I've watched and read Lord of the Rings since I was a kid, and the thing that I always loved the most about Lord of the Rings was Moria, like where they go through Moria, and then like the whole Khazad-dûm army now. And it just cheeses me off to no end that you have such a good and popular army that is basically a strength 3 army with no spears and is not competitive.
Yeah.
Right? And so then the new armies that come out, hey, let's just saturate them with strength 4 guys and give them spears.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Oh, and throwing weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How is that fair?
It's called Army Creep, Don. It's Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Guess what? Army Creep's a thing.
It's like, these guys fight in tunnels. Why would they not invent a spear? Right?
They do. They have
a special unit that can only be given a spear.
Yeah.
The Vault Wardens.
So, the one big thing that I found with this list that really, really hurt them was their lack of mobility. They're dwarves. They're slow. That's the thing. It's a wall of iron moving towards you at a slow pace. It's going to get there, and when it does, it's going to be hard for you to kill them, and they're going to probably hurt you. But
You just hope the game is still going on by the
Yeah.
time you get there.
it's like, oh, we're playing Reconnoiter. Okay, well, half of your force is off the table on that side, and I'm still halfway across the table.
Well, I mean, we did our analytics of the missions in the last episode, and we realize now how important having mobility is in your army. It's like a very important ingredient to winning.
Yeah.
So, with the new rules and having this new ally matrix, it's really helped Army of Thror. Because before, the army bonus of Thror being a banner basically was like, well, you can only take Army of Thror.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stuck with that. Otherwise, you're losing this amazing bonus, which is why you would take him in the first place. Now, you can ally in Iron Hills. And Iron Hills...
the other strength for Dwarf army with spears.
Iron Hills
And
has
cavalry.
a very...
I sense a bit of bitterness.
they have a couple units that help. Well, like you could take Dane if you want. He's too expensive though. What I was thinking is I'd take a captain on a goat.
Yep.
And then like 5-ish goats.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 goats as like a little allied mobility contingent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also, if you wanted to at that point, because you have a hero fortitude, why not bring a 90-point twirly-whirly along? It's like
It solves both their problems.
Yeah.
I don't really have the shooting
Yeah.
to shoot at you. Well, there's the throwing weapons, but like I'm gonna have this twirly-whirly to stop your crossbows or your catapults or your even normal bows from shooting me. So while I'm marching across that table with my steel wall, I'm shooting this and lobbing it and...
Yeah, so the thing is, like, part of the army that improved was the fact that they have a green ally that, like, can solve a lot of their problems.
Like, man, we're missing this one piece of the puzzle here.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, let's just call in these guys.
New rules came in. It's like, oh man, and they brought that piece that I needed. Click. Hey, we're a complete puzzle now.
And the worst part about it is, like, so let's say you take your Goat Riders and you take your Twirly Whirly and you've got your Airborne list and you see Smog, it's like, it's not going to be like the movie, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shoot you with the Twirly Whirly and kill you from a distance.
Yeah. I'll shoot Smog, and the Twirly Whirly rule stops Smog's fire breath because it's a shooting weapon for some reason, who knows, on a 5+. It's still a 5+, but still. That was a big topic for discussion before. I'm like, how does this fire-breathing dragon's breath get stopped by a freaking twirling wooden pike?
Don't question these things. It spins really fast.
It's rules as well.
Okay, so that was number 5.
No, there's still more.
You still got more?
You guys didn't have it written down.
Oh, there's more.
This is what happens when you have the guy that knows the army.
Oh, it's a garbage can army. Okay, let's hear it.
No, I said they're garbage because they're slow. But now they have balance. Thror himself got better. His ring used to make him fearless. Now it gives you once per game reroll your priority roll.
Oh.
So because of that, he lost fearless.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's
They're throwing
cursed.
They're throwing that rule around at all the big dwarf kings.
Yeah.
Durin got it.
Everybody has the
right.
ring, yeah, because it's a ring of Durin is the ring, right? So that allows him to actually shield. So you have this really tanky hero that can now actually use his shield.
Yeah.
He doesn't have heroic defense for some reason. I guess defense 9's enough to he doesn't have to worry about it. But
he has challenge though.
He does have challenge. So that was one big thing. The second is Thrain. His weapon is now a 2-handed hammer. And he got the Master Crafted rule.
Master Forge?
The Master Forge rule.
Oh.
So you can actually use him. And his profile is pretty good. Like
that right there is like a massive.
You used to never
improvement.
take him because it was like he has a 2-handed weapon. He's terrible, right?
Yeah.
Like there's other heroes I'd rather take. Now he's got that. He's defense 8.
He's a lot better, yeah.
He has an army wide, a board wide. If he passes his courage check, when you're broken, everybody else passes, including heroes. All dwarves.
Wow.
Really? Wow, that's really good.
So it's crazy, but
it's like, what, you're holding back these gems from us? Like, you're just gonna like.
I could have bumped them up.
maybe now they're not at the bottom.
Yeah, maybe they're 4, not 5.
You know, with the change to that ring for Army of Thror, they actually have a lot of priority adjusting abilities. Because Balin
Balin's rule.
Yeah, well, Balin was kind of a.
He always used to have it.
It was kind of like, no, he didn't have it. In the Khazad Dun list, he didn't have it.
Sorry.
But they kind of like took that from his Thorin's company profile and like tacked it on now to the
Because
Khazad
young
Dun.
Balin has it, and he had it in his profile.
Yeah.
Dwalin,
He's still the same
he
blender.
didn't really change.
Balin's rule for priority, though, is actually better than what Durin and Thror got. Because they are reroll priority once. He can do it, costs him 1 point of will, and he has 3, so he can potentially do it 3 times. And it's not automatically win priority.
Yeah.
It's re-roll. So you could just re-roll and lose still.
Yeah.
Like it's not like.
But sometimes you want to reroll and lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
That's been a few
Yeah.
ties where it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, I won priority, but you rolled a 5. And I don't want to go.
Okay. Are you done with all your surprise
Few gems.
nuggets?
No.
This is why they're number
I
5.
gotta tuck this list up as much as I can.
Any more, and we're gonna have to bump them up.
No, I think that's it. Let me just think quickly. No, that's it.
All right, now that you're sure, we'll go on to number 4, which now could possibly be number 5. But number 4 is Numenor.
Yeah.
They did get a lot of love in the new edition,
Yes.
and like they lost nothing.
Well, they didn't really have anything to lose.
Didn't really have a lot to lose. Granted.
They had like 4 profiles.
They lost a little. They lost a little.
Well, they had to pay for their improvements.
No, they lost a little in that Isildur just doesn't get the ring regardless if Elendil's around.
Right. So you can't have 2 guys with the ring.
Well, no. If you have Elendil in the army, you can't have Isildur with the ring, whereas before you could.
Because Elendil wasn't alive when Isildur.
It's like, wait a minute, I haven't killed Sauron yet. How do you have the ring again?
But both of those heroes got considerably better in this edition. They both got more expensive by 20 points. But they both went from strength 4 to strength 5. Elendil got the 12-inch standfast and fortify spirit put on them, so easily worth 20 points.
Yeah.
3 will and fortify spirit.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
This is another nerf to magic casting.
It is.
Like we talked about how badly
make people more resilient against magic casting.
Yeah. So they hit magic really hard.
Well,
making
this
it harder to
army
cast.
is like, forget about casting magic against this army.
Well, I mean, the lore about it is they resisted Sauron's temptations during the fall of Numenor, and they left to come to Middle-earth.
Yeah, it's thematic.
So it's very thematic.
It is thematic.
It's very thematic.
No question about it. And the army did need to be improved because it was really lackluster before. And there's a lot of people
boring
complaining.
And stale.
A lot of people complain about like the fight 4, for example, in the Warriors. Why are they fight 4? Why they should be fight 5, right?
And strength 3.
And strength 3. So their 2 big heroes got better. Yes, more expensive, but well worth the points.
Yeah.
Isildur got +1 strength, +1 will, Blood of Numenor, which is magic resistance.
Yeah.
So it's no fortify spirit, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
1 free dice is still pretty good.
Yeah.
The captain of Numenor got the Blood of Numenor for free, no point increase, so resistant to magic. And then the warriors for 1 point, yes, they got more expensive by 1 point, but what a point. +1 strength and Blood of Numenor. So +1 strength and magic resistance for 1 point.
Oh, I didn't know that they all got Blood of Numenor.
Well, so the captains, everyone gets at base, but they have to be within range of a character.
Yeah, there is...
They have to be in range of Isildur or Elendil or, spoiler alert, Anarion, whenever he gets made.
That'll be the next...
So
there is a caveat, but...
Yeah.
That +1 strength for any army, the strength 4, is so huge.
Yeah, it is.
Strength 4 armies win games.
Well, that's what you do when you're playing a strength 3 army, or you're faced with the prospect of playing a strength 3 army. What's the first thing that you look at the army? How do I get strength 4 in this army?
Yeah.
Right, what has strength 4?
Yeah.
Right, it's like, oh, well, the whole army has strength 4 now.
Yeah. Because strength 3 armies that have warriors that are strength 3, you're generally either going to shield and your warrior leaders are doing the work.
Yep.
Whereas in a strength 4 army where your warriors are strength 4, your infantry can do the job just as well as your leaders.
Yeah. I don't know, I still think that these guys might shield. because they are only defense 5. They don't have heavy armor.
They're fight 4. So
Yeah.
They are kind of caught in the middle, but like having strength 4 is probably a good enough reason not to shield.
Well, we always say, like, what are the 2 most important things? Fight 4, strength 4. And then if
Yeah.
you can get defense 6, that's the
Holy
trifecta.
Trinity.
Yeah.
That's the Holy Trinity.
Holy Trinity.
It's true.
And
We just came up with that right now.
yeah.
That's
On the
right.
spot.
We know in this edition of the game, like, terror is a much bigger thing in
Yeah.
this edition of the game. And these guys' special rule is +1 courage, which on the surface seems like meh, but like if you look at getting that army wide, you get a war horn, which generally is going to be worth 30 points.
Yeah.
So that rule right there is probably better than a 30-point bonus because you can't kill it.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Sure.
Generally, though, the terror that you're seeing nowadays is accompanied by Harbinger of Evil.
It is.
So it's that
Yeah.
terror -1 to courage. And it's
In
like,
most cases.
just this whole army bonus of having +1 courage, I negate Harbinger of Evil.
Well,
So
there's
it's like, it's
also
okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
lists that have the ability to cast Aura of Dismay.
Mhm.
And that's like, oh, here's my
Which
shield.
we're going to be getting to one.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, they're coming.
They're coming, that's why they're number 1.
Yeah. But yeah, like that Aura of
Spoiler,
Dismay
spoiler alert.
is good.
It is.
Like it's big.
Yeah. So, like, this army before, I think, was, I don't even remember where Green Dragon had it in their tiers, but it wasn't higher than 3.
No.
And it's definitely not gotten worse, as they only been improved. So, I
No.
think this could definitely be up into
We've talked about it, and I
higher
think
tier.
Elendil, if he's not number 1, he's at least in the top 3 for heroes this
Mhm.
edition.
Yeah.
Just like his ability to just walk through stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's got a free heroic combat every turn. He's strength 5 with a 2-handed sword.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah,
fight like
We
7.
were only talking about the improvements,
I
not
know.
the awesome that was already there.
Oh no, but I just mean like
Yeah.
he was good before, but
Yeah.
now they turned it up to 11.
Yeah.
He's not easy to beat. Let's just say
No,
that.
it's like I'm fighting against that guy. Well, what can I do to stop him? There's not really anything.
Hopefully you kill his horse on the way in.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay, let us move on to number 3.
the one and only.
The one and
The
only.
one and only evil army.
Yeah, the one that I.
Who's
hate.
doing this?
Me. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
you're
I
doing
hate
it,
it
yeah.
so much. I hates it.
Well, we've seen this already.
Yeah.
In-
I got my first taste of fighting against this list.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched. Well, I don't think I watched him actually play it, but I heard about Jay Clare using it at the GT.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of the live stream, and you could hear people, the recurring, oh, Jay won with this list, oh, Jay won with this list. And I'm like, ooh, that list sounds like it's good.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen it in the tournament in our scene, and
Yeah.
it is pretty ruthless.
That was my first game.
So what is it?
At the tournament, it's Corsairs of Umbar.
Yeah.
Corsairs.
Yeah.
They
The spam of all spams.
they're good.
Yeah.
They have their main hero, is
Dalamir.
Dalamir.
Wow.
I know his name was, I just had to think about it. He's 90 points, and he's a hero of legend.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't scream out to you, this army list is a spam list, I
Yeah.
don't know what else does, right?
Yes.
Like, your main
See,
hero is
he's got to
cheap.
he's got to be the cheapest hero of legend in the game, I guess. Eh?
Actually, Theoden is the cheapest.
Is he?
Base cost.
Alright.
Oh, because he's lost. But yeah, anyway, so like that right there says, okay boys, get ready because we're going to bring a lot of models. Yeah, like on average, pure Corsairs list, you're looking at probably 50 to 65 models
Mhm.
at the 800 point list or limit. If you're 1,000, you'd probably be closer to the 70 models, and it really benefits them to do that because their army bonus relies on trapping models.
Yeah.
And
Oh, what's their army bonus? We don't even have that written here.
Oh,
The
it's
army bonus
backstabber's rule.
is backstabber.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. +1 to wound if
Yeah.
you trap them. So we always joke about well, we don't joke about it, but we always talk about the Green Dragon, and their like main motto is traps win games.
Yeah.
This just means that traps are winning the game faster.
Well, +1 to wound is like one of the best bonuses you
Yeah.
can get.
Not
in
+1
this game.
strength.
Not +1 strength, +1 to wound.
Yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're strength 3, that's not very good, so you're wounding a defense 6 model 6. Oh, now it's 5.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have at least 3 guys because you're trapped,
Yeah.
and they're all getting double strikes, so it's 6 dice needing a 5 to kill.
Yeah, it just means that someone that's trapped is definitely dying.
Yes. So yeah,
which is good if you run a horde list, because then you can start trapping the flanks, which is what Corsairs do. They run a horde list.
their army, like again, it goes on that, like there's
Well, so
There's-
what you do against this list is you just shoot them because their defense is low.
no.
Oh, that's a sad
I don't think you could have set that set of pins up any faster, but
It was kind of deliberate.
yeah, I kind of figured that. So you think that an army that has defense 3, like, pff, I'll just walk through these guys, no problem. Hold on a second. Every one of their models, well, pretty much every one of their models, their base guys, have throwing weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys with bows, in the boxes, you just throw them out. It's like, yep, you guys go in the garbage. I'm buying more boxes of guys. You don't have to throw them out, but they're useless.
You convert them into leaders.
Yeah, or you convert them into spearmen. Or you convert their bow into like a throwing bow or something like that. I'm gonna throw my bow at you. So, like, their guys all have throwing weapons.
It's like a giant boomerang.
Yeah. So, like, everything has throwing weapons.
Yeah.
And the big thing is they're, not the Corsairs, the
Arbalesters.
Arbalesters, crossbows. Well, you're like, okay, they're crossbows, they're a shooting weapon, you can only have so many of them. You can have 33% of your army as them.
Oh, so like
Oh.
20.
But wait a second, I have like 60 models in my army, so here's another, like, you keep layering these things.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about
It's
compounding
It's like they're
bonuses.
they're like hobbits on steroids,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Instead of short bows, they have crossbows. Instead of throw stones, they all have throwing weapons. So if
Yeah.
you survive the onslaught of crossbows, and then you get close to be able to melee, and you survive the barrage of throwing weapons, then you get surrounded, trapped, and like killed with +1 to wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're evil, so they could, if they wanted to and be silly about it, throw weapons multiple times as they're
Yeah.
charging in, right? Yeah, you're taking in the ways to hit your own guys, but I don't think you do that. You're just going to charge and trap the guy. So, yeah, like, the list I fought had 63 models, and there was like 21 crossbows. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, the list gets worse.
Yeah. Well, you can... The Reavers, a lot of people think that they got nerfed.
Oh,
And they
no.
did. They got a little nerf. They lost their 2 attacks. I think
No,
there
they
is one
st-
attack.
no, they still got 2 attacks.
Okay, but their fight 5 went down to fight 4.
I am
What do you do?
I am totally fine with them going down to fight 4,
Yeah.
because you can. We have a very thematic rule, this bloodthirsty rage, whatever it is, where you can force them to fail it, and then they auto pass courage check and automatically get +1 to wound when they charge in. So I win a fight, and if I've got backstab, if I've trapped the model, I get +2 to wound.
Yeah.
+2.
A lot of stuff's dying.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 attacks base. I'm throwing 4 attacks now, +2 to wound.
Yeah. They're kind of ridiculous at that point. The new hero that came out, I forget what his name is, but he's like part of that
New
two-pack,
Forge World.
Raza, and I think it's Dangmar.
Yeah,
Yeah, sounds right.
Dangmar. He's got like a whip.
Yeah.
So if you do roll terrible in the combat phase, it's like a banner. He whips you.
Oh,
Roll better, you stupid.
And the bosuns, the character, the bosun, is actually a banner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
he
he counts as a banner.
But it's only for Reavers, though, right?
Yeah, but if your Reaver's in the back of a spear,
True. Yeah.
right? So you got your Reaver who's in the front. You got a guy in the back with a spear. That's 3 attacks. You then got a banner. You've got this guy's special, which actually stacks with the banner. So you're throwing 5 dice if you want into a fight at fight 4.
Yeah, so just,
Yeah.
like, again, the
That's
limiting,
pretty crazy.
the limiting factor of this used to be that you can't get Arbalesters. Well, guess what? Games Workshop decided, you know what, chums, we're going to bring back these models.
Yeah.
So now they're available. Like, I was watching this stream, and people were like the guys broadcasting are like, wow, these guys are really good. I'm going to go buy a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I'll go buy a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nah, I can't see myself painting like 70 guys.
That's one of the reasons why Isengard has always been so good.
Crossbows.
Crossbows are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys have crossbows that hit on 4s,
Yeah.
so they're good with that. But they also have defense 6.
Yeah, that was the one issue with generally people who were bowmen. They're like defense 4 or 5. These guys are
Yeah.
defense 6.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're carrying a giant shield.
Yeah. So they're freaking ridiculous. Like the army I fought, I was like, you have how many crossbows? And I was using Army of the Dead with defense 8, and I was afraid to fight them.
Yeah.
And it was like, I ran my guys
And
out.
that one moment of hesitation means 20 more crossbow shots at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was marching with Aragorn to get across the table faster.
Yeah.
And for one turn, I was like, okay, I have to move my guys out this turn. 8 crossbow shots killed Gimli.
Oh,
It's
Oh,
total fluke, and then I was like, yep, I'm going to turtle in the corner. Right? Like, I can't deal. Like, not only do they have 20 crossbows, but the rest of their army that wasn't those crossbows has throwing weapons. The saving grace to that list is the fact that they don't have any big heroes.
yes,
Yeah.
they do.
They do?
They have a Knight of Umbar on
Okay.
Felbies. So the one guy who's like, "Ooh, you have Elendil. I'm gonna match your stats."
Okay.
But I mean, if you take that guy, you're no longer
Yeah.
taking nearly
No,
as big a
you're-
horde, right?
You would want to. You'd only show him in the 1,000-point list,
Yeah.
and he'd be in there. So, oh, you brought a Balrog. Okay, I've got this guy who can just match your
Okay.
stats.
So I forgot about that fact. But yeah, like the list I fought, like most people don't want to take that big expensive hero because it's 170 points.
Correct.
That's like another 15 guys that I could
Yeah.
take.
But it's okay because Delamere has the old school transfix smoke bombs
Oh yes.
that he just throws at people.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Like his smoke bombs are better than transfix. It used to be on par with transfix.
Now the
Doesn't this army have like plastic models?
they
Yes.
do. That you can buy 24.
Everything is actually available to purchase from the GW store. Go buy your
Really?
stuff right now. It's all good.
Number 3
Number 3.
was
Corsairs.
Corsairs of Umbar.
And
Wow.
And they are probably hands down the best evil list right now.
They definitely improve the most, and they're when you look at shooting armies, you're measuring yourself versus
I
them.
don't want to ever see this list across the table from me.
And if
Like you laugh, but I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
if you are really good at converting, you could make this list for like under $120 Canadian. Just saying.
Well, I
I
know
didn't
Chris.
think
I know
120.
Chris Streets that plays with us and who's joined with us. He's playing them now.
Yeah.
Like we've been playing battle companies up in Barrie, and he just started a battle company using Corsairs
They'd be very good.
because he's running that army as
Mhm.
well, and he's converted a lot of his stuff.
It's ridiculous. Like I played it once and I was like, because they were joking, because these guys from America come up
Yeah.
to the tournament we're at, and they were joking like, "Oh, somebody has Corsairs with 20 crossbows," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I hope I don't fight that guy." And the first game I played him, so I was like, "Oh well, I'll pull this band-aid off right at the beginning."
It's like, not to bring up a sore point,
Yeah.
but wasn't the last game at Nova that you played in,
I did. I played against that gentleman.
was it the same army?
No, he brought Harad at the time.
Oh, it was Harad.
With double Ringworth.
Back when they were like,
Enough said.
good
Enough
enough.
said.
Enough said. Okay, number 2.
Number
Who
2.
did you say was the cheapest legendary?
Theoden.
Oh yeah, Theoden. Rohan is
Ro-
number 2.
Whoa,
Yes.
talk about a segue.
But a booch.
So we had an interesting conversation about this because like I wasn't buying into the Rohan as much as
Mhm.
you were pushing the Rohan,
Yes.
and this was before we caught on to the Corsairs of Umbar. So I was vying for Numenor ahead of Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
And then through the conversation, I eventually agreed, yes, I didn't realize certain things about Rohan, and it makes them a step above Numenor. Oh, and by the way, Corsairs of Umbar. Yeah, they're definitely up there too.
Yeah.
But Rohan, I was pointing out the stuff that Rohan lost.
Yeah.
Because the face of the average Rohan army is very different looking now
Yep.
in this edition
Yeah.
than it was in the past, because like a lot of people relied on 2 things in the old Rohan list: Erkenbrand and Sons of Eorl, right? and both of them got pretty heavily nerfed. Now, Erkenbrand did need a pretty heavy nerf.
Well, his like army, like the red shield rule,
Yeah.
it's the same as every other hero that had a special rule like that.
In terms of who can take it,
Correct.
yes, but the actual rule is far worse than what it used to be.
Counts as a banner now. If you're within 3
Yeah,
inches.
so
of
you're all
the
still fight 3.
Oh.
But if you're within 12
okay, then I don't have
inches.
to bring up the point that I was thinking
Yeah.
about related.
So again, kind of got double tap nerfed to the point of like a lot worse than what he was before. Still good.
Yeah.
Still good, but
Well, +2 courage army wide's not anything bad.
no, I mean he's still good, but we're talking about improvements or
Sure.
nerfs
Yeah.
that happened to the army, and
Okay.
that was a heavy nerf.
Sure.
The other one too was the Sons of Eorl.
Yeah.
So they went down by 2 points.
Yeah.
All right, 2 points. So they're 20 points now. But they went from 2 attacks to 1 attack. And it's like, okay, well, if you take them with Eorl the Young, and I think they have to be within a certain distance of him,
Probably
they-
12 inches.
they get 2 attacks. So if you take Eorl the Young,
Yeah.
they're like they used to be, pretty much. But Eorl the Young now cannot be taken with any other named Rohan heroes. So it's kind of, again, it's a similar sort of thing that happened with Khazad-dûm. It's kind of like 2 army lists in one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, Durin or Balin in Khazad-dûm, and it's kind of like all these guys or Eorl the Young in
That's
in
the
Rohan.
eras. They're trying to break up the
Yeah,
different eras.
which is, you know, fair enough. But it's a nerf to the list.
Sure.
It's a nerf to the
But
list.
why are they like second for best?
Well,
What we're talking about is nerfs here.
yeah.
Oh, it's
Because-
because wait, we've got rest to talk about.
Yeah, because they did get a lot of stuff that helps, and like to me the biggest one of all is the army bonus.
Oof,
So yeah, they lost some strength 4 guys, but now like the whole army gets +1 strength on the charge.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. And is this for anybody?
Yeah, and it is for riders of Rohan and Royal
+1 fight within 12 inches of Theoden.
when you charge.
When you
Also, it affects the
also
cap-
has to be on the charge.
has to be on the charge.
Okay.
And it's also, it affects captains of Rohan.
So it is a bit situational, and there is a range to it, and it's conditional on Theoden being alive.
Right.
The fact is, like, it's basically saying this army is really good when it charges you.
Yes.
Like, cavalry charging somebody should be absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
And it kind of is in this game.
Yeah, it is.
But
Oh,
now
it is.
you've added these 2 rules to this
Yeah.
list.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Like in my opinion, the cavalry rules in the game right now are too good.
Yeah.
Like
Time to
it's-
nerf them.
No, they're too good. Like
Yeah.
to. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole other.
Next
topic.
edition,
Yeah,
cavalry
another,
nerf.
another topic. Why is cavalry too good in this game? So we talked a while ago about the new meta being hero shock.
Yes.
So multiple big heroes mounted, charging in, and just like chewing the daylights out of the guy's army before he can react.
That's why.
And this-
That's why cavalry should be
Yeah.
nerfed.
This is the army of all armies.
Yeah, because it's an
Yes.
army of literally all
For
mounted
that.
stuff.
Well, and they just have a plethora of like really good heroes that can be mounted.
Yeah.
And this is mainly because of the additional 4
Gondor or
Yes.
new really good heroes that were released in the most recent supplement.
Sure.
4 new really good
Yes.
heroes that are all mounted. So like all of these things combined are so much better than like what they lost.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Eomer, you've got Theodred, and you've got Durnhelm are all 3 attack base heroes.
Yeah.
Which on the charge is 4 attacks. You have Gambling with a banner, that's 5 attacks. Yeah, you're going to go through models fairly quickly with
Yeah.
this list. And it's just going to charge a whole bunch of your warriors. They're going to call heroic combats across the board, and he's going to chew through about 20 of your warriors in the first turn.
And they have, I forget the banner, but it's like Renews Might.
Yes.
The Rohan Royal Standard.
Yeah.
And they've changed it. Actually, it got a buff because before Gambling couldn't benefit from it. Now he can.
It's like, oh, you have no might left? Well, here's a free might for you, sir.
Yeah.
So now Gambling becomes this heroic move bot that he just stands behind all the other ones. It's like, oh, we're all out of might. Gambling gets 1. He'll call the heroic move. everyone else gets a point of might too, and it's like, oh my god. So they're always able to call the heroic move on the early, mid, and late game, and it's like, as your opponent, you're going to run out of might, and then he's going to be calling heroic moves every turn, so priority no longer becomes an issue for this army.
Yeah.
A lot of new, really nice models for this army with the release of those 4 heroes as well.
Yeah.
I guess one of them has been Forge World so far, right? And Theoden is actually a new model.
Yep.
And then what's the
Durin
Forge World guy? Elfhelm, and then Durin is the new one.
Yeah.
Durin was pre-order today.
Yeah. And
with
then
all
there's
the
still
stuff.
two more to come.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But go back to this whole +1 fight in range of Theoden. That's pretty big, but when you're looking at Riders of Rohan are now fight 4 in the charge, and strength 4 in the charge.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that strength 4, fight 4, but now you've got a bonus attack, so you've got your spear support rocked in there, and if you win the fight, you're doubling your strikes.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go crazy, you now step up to the Royal Guard, who are now fight 5 on the charge.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like you don't even need to take, and they're like 5 points cheaper, I think, mounted than Son of Eorl. Like,
Exactly.
and they're why would you take the Son of Eorl?
They just
You
wouldn't.
just don't need to do it anymore.
Like what I was talking about before, which was the thing I was gonna bring up, but I didn't really need to, so I'm gonna do it now anyway.
Okay.
Was I thought Red Shields still gave +1 fight, and then I was like, oh man, so Red Shields plus Theoden charging are fight 5 guys. I was like, oh man, that's super good. That's probably why Red Shields don't have the +1 fight anymore.
Yeah.
It's because they've added that rule into Theoden.
Yeah.
Because it would be like normal guys are fight 5 on the charge. Is like, whoa.
So they still if they're within distance of Theoden and within distance of Uruk-hai, they were getting so many buffs that you're gonna lose track of something.
It's like
Yeah.
stacks on stacks.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you win? Oh, I
It's like,
forgot.
wait, what am I getting from you again? Oh no, I was getting that from you.
It's like, it's your army. How do you not know?
Yeah.
It's like, I forgot about all the buffs because I have so many.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Oh, and their whole army has bows. Like, their normal guys have bows.
Yeah,
That's something we need to write down. Like, they have the ability to skirmish.
Yeah. Well, they've always had that ability, right? But they were skirmishers, but their skirmishing models were like when they charge into combat, they're there, eh? But now their skirmishing models when they charge into combat are strength 4, fight 4, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. You can also give the guys, like, this is a kind of a bit of a minor buff, like throwing weapons, throwing spears, are good on those cavalry now too.
Yeah.
Because you're throwing at your normal shoot value.
Yeah.
So you're not getting that nerf to the shoot as you charge in. So that right there could add another kill or two to this.
Well, you would go with your Royal Guard. You give your Royal Guard the throwing spears,
Yeah.
and then your Riders of Rohan would have the bows. So as you're moving in, you're still shooting. You're shooting your bows, and then you're throwing your throwing spears.
Yeah.
And then when you have the charge, it's like, yeah, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel
Just
it.
rough.
Yeah. The funny thing is that in the Green Dragon top armies thing that we spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
Rohan was number 1 in the
Yes.
previous edition, right? And we have them in this list as being the army that got the second most improvements of all of the armies, but not the most improvements.
No. So they're still good.
They're still
But
good.
they just got,
Yeah.
they didn't get
They
as
still
many.
could be the best army. Who
Sure.
knows?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
They still could be the best army.
They just didn't get the amount of
They-
buffs that
they-
the next list was going to top.
They used to be the best army, and they got, like, according to us, the second best buffs of all of
We're
the
like,
armies.
oh, most
So-
of these things have
so
like
that
4 or
must-
5 bullet
That
points.
must mean that, therefore, this is the only army that could contend with them as being the best army.
Listen,
ever.
we go from like 4 or 5 bullet points per list to this next one.
Yeah,
it's
you know,
it's
it's
a
like-
whole page to itself. and we've all listened to the last Green
Green
Dragon
Dragon.
thing
Yeah.
where it's all based on this list.
Yeah.
And like they're
It's
like,
like,
they're insane at how like they're like, how is this possible that they could get all these buffs?
this is what I call this the candy store list.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because it's
Take
just
what you want.
it's one sweet after another.
Yeah.
The worst part about describing this list is when you start mentioning models that were really good in the last edition, they're still really good in this edition, but everything else got so much better that it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not really going to take
It's
you
like, why
anymore.
would you take that now? It's like you're passé at this
Yeah.
point.
It's like,
So
you are
our,
now on the shelf.
so our number one list.
They are elves on the shelf. Oh!
Oh! So our number one list for most improved would have to be Rivendell.
Yeah, if you haven't guessed that already.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, we talk about the era of the big heroes, and every one of their big heroes took a huge buff. Like, Gil-Galad is ridiculous now. He is an absolute combat beast. He also has blood and glory, so as he's killing other heroes, he's getting more might.
Yeah.
He's fighting.
Something a lot of
He
people
can take a
forget.
horse now.
He can take an armored horse. Is it armored horse?
No, I don't think it's armored.
It used to be
It
armored.
used to be armored. So he can take a horse. He also brings his fight 6 to the table, and let me tell you.
You mean he can buff normal foot soldiers
Yes.
to Kingsguard,
Yes.
which
Now,
is a point more, but
now-
they go to fight 6.
Yeah.
now,
What?
now here's the crazy thing. That hasn't changed. Like, the rule hasn't changed.
That was there
No.
before.
That was there
Yeah.
before. But because there's so many models, so many hero models that don't have heroic strike,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, all of my Isengard heroes that don't have heroic strike. My Kingsguard dudes come up and they're like, that's nice. I
It's
always
like,
win
wait,
fights on
what, you have a
sixes.
warrior that's striker fight 6? It's like-
That's cool, bro. I'm just gonna sit here and shield
Yeah.
with my fight 6. Good luck.
So that's Gil-Galad. And he's also
Well,
a hero of legend.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, one of the things that like elf armies really struggle with is numbers. And one of the main obstacles to that is that in order to get your numbers up, you have to buying expensive heroes.
Yeah.
But now, like, they have 2 of their big heroes are heroes of legend, and the third one's valor.
Yes.
So like right there, that's like solving your numbers problem.
Absolutely.
This is actually a list that I'm surprised. Glorfindel's not like a. If you take Glorfindel, you can't take this hero unless you
Yeah.
take a nerf. Because, like, Elrond's kids, like the sons,
Yeah, but Glorfindel's
Yeah.
Glorfindel's in the third age, right? He resurrects. He's in the third age.
is he?
Yeah,
He is,
he comes back to live.
Not according to the movies.
Well,
And that's what this game is based on.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
Sword
take your
form.
lore and throw it out the door.
Also, Aegelus, which is Gil-Galad's weapon, is now elven made.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, he has an elven-made spear?
Yes, it used to not be elven made. Now it is elven made.
So it's like, not only am I fight 9,
It's like every time
but
we
my
like
spear makes me win
every
fights.
time we're ready to move on. Oh, and by the way, there's this. Oh, and by the way, there's this.
Yes.
We could literally
That's just-
talk for an hour.
So that let's jump into Glorfindel because I want to save Elrond.
Like I
for
don't
the-
know why Glorfindel wouldn't be a hero of legend. It must be just because they left him out of the movie.
Oh, we're
But,
talking
like,
about Glorfindel now?
Well, he was about to talk about him.
Okay.
But like in the books, he led a whole friggin' army for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He did kind of look like the army for Gondolin. Just saying. Just
Anyway.
saying.
Go
So-
on. This is all you.
So Glorfindel, he now has fortified spirit base.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Oh, is he lost magic resistance?
Does he not
Yeah,
have,
but
to, does he not
replaced
have to
with
buy the
fortified
armor to get
spirit.
fortified spirit?
No,
No,
comes
no,
base.
it's something else now.
The armor lets him
Oh,
become
I thought
immune.
the armor was like 10 points or something, and it's like, you get all of this stuff.
No, it makes him immune to something else.
So the armor now
I
makes
know.
him immune to brutal power attacks like hurl and rend.
Sure.
Okay. He has his fortified spirit. Don't forget that one.
Yeah,
And he comes with fight 7 base,
sure.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a hero of the West.
He's
or
a
whatever.
hero.
Or the
We
West.
didn't even talk about that role, but we'll get to
Yeah.
that role in a little bit. He has Asphalah, which gives Horse Lord. It gives Fleetfoot, and he has a woodland creature.
Wait, his horse is Horse Lord?
Yeah, it confers these special rules to him because he's riding Asphalah, and it's a 12-inch mount. So he just rides through the woods and charges you on this
Whew.
model. Yes.
Now I can see why.
Did he
he's-
go up in points?
No. Do not.
Are you sure he didn't? I thought he did.
Oh no, he went up 20 points if you take
Yeah.
all the upgrades. But that's 20 points well spent.
Yeah. I think the problem you're going to run into with the list is you've got all these heroes that are amazing, but you can only take like 1, maybe 2 of them.
You'll see probably 2 of them at the 800 plus.
Well, that was like before, like almost an auto include was the twins.
Yeah.
We haven't got to them yet,
Yeah.
But now the twins are kind of like the elves on the shelf. It's like, yeah, you guys are still good. You were like way undercosted before, and they only added 20 points. Still a fantastic deal. Still
Sure.
2 great models, but like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, you're overshadowed by the 3 big ones.
Outshined.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll talk about it now. Lord of the West special rules on all 3 of these big heroes. And the ability to re-roll a dual roll and re-roll a wound roll is ridiculous. You have a built-in banner in the model.
And I don't think we mentioned that Elrond is the 3rd one.
And Elrond is the 3rd one. Now, the reason why I like to save Elrond to the end is I like Elrond the most because he's so flexible.
Yeah.
1, he brings the ability for you to take Rivendell Knights and not have them count towards the bow limit, which is very nasty.
Yeah, he's the way around that rule.
Yeah. 2, he has the pajama pants Elrond's priority points, those foresight points. He gets that built into the base cost of his model.
That is a broken roll. I'm sorry.
The plus minus to the priority roll can be, oh my god, it can be critical. Now, it is a d6 roll, and you could get 1 priority foresight point or 6.
It's that one turn that you need your priority to go your way. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, we tied. Well, no, we don't tie. I'll use my plus
Can you
1.
just use some
Yeah.
magic?
I'll just, no, that is not the roll you made.
No, you did not win
Do the
priority.
old Qui-Gon and make the die roll to land on the blue instead of the red?
How is your d6 on a 7? Don't ask these questions.
Yeah, exactly.
His sword, for some reason, gives +1 to wound against spirits, which is kind of nice against, because all of the big evil monsters are spirits, Sauron and the Balrog. So that's kind of nice for him. And he automatically gets a free upgrade for his Wrath of Bruinen spell, or for his spell, which was used to be Nature's Wrath.
Yeah.
Now it's Wrath of Bruinen, which effectively gives him the heroically channeled version of Nature's Wrath every time he casts it.
It's good.
He is an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And because of all of the, oh, and let's not forget he also has one of the Rings of Power. So he
Reroll fate.
he rerolls his fate. So he is a very flexible guy, and I would choose him as my number 1. And it's a toss-up between Glorfindel and Gil-Galad. But
all 3 of them are expensive. But
they're all expensive. So then we move into, let's just jump into the Rivendell Knights. They now got added into the list. Right? So there's no allying out to get them. They're now on the list, and they are kind of the best cav in the game, bar none. They're defense 6 cav. They're fight 5. They've got elven weapons. They got all the
Their lances aren't elven weapons, but
that doesn't need to be, right? Because if you've got multiple charging in, one of them will just use your elven sword.
yeah, I'll
right?
use my sword.
And
Exactly.
speaking of elven swords, all of the elves in the entire army get an elven sword for free.
Yeah, elven made weapon.
All of them made weapon, all of them.
Yeah.
And the really neat thing about the elven sword is that you can have an elven sword and a shield, and you can go 2-handed while still having the shield on.
Yeah. You don't get the defense bonus.
But like you
But
can
still.
you can have 3 elves wrapped around a
say that
model.
rule again. They can what?
So if you have an elven sword
Yeah.
and a shield, you can forego using your shield in the fight to go 2-handed with your elven weapon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's kind of that idea of like they're strength 3.
So they have the option of dropping the shield.
It's
Not dropping
Not
it.
dropping
And
it.
Yeah.
putting it on their back.
Yeah.
pretty much. So when you trap a model, you could say to yourself, well, those 2 guys are going to go 2-handed in this gal fight normally.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have that ability to start trapping models and killing them very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't even gotten to the one model. The good version of the Shade,
Yeah. My most hated model to play against now.
Círdan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy got such a ridiculous amount of buffs.
Yay! He's back for sale today.
And he's back to made to order!
Yeah.
Buy it now!
I was like, oh god, this guy's so good. But it's okay because nobody has him because he's
Yeah.
he's not available anymore, right? And then I was like, hey, some Lord of the Rings stuff's coming back. And the first model I saw that I was just like, what? What's this guy?
Yeah.
I was like, the model that is like, I'm not gonna let you play the game.
No.
No, you're gonna stand there and watch me kill you.
Yeah. It's like,
So, Círdan, for what is it, 90 points I think he is?
yeah, just
Gets
shuts you down.
Aura of Dismay,
Yeah.
Aura of Command, Blinding Light, which are the 3 best buffs in the game outside of casting Fortified Spirit on someone. And why not give him Enchanted Blades? Because you know what? Glorfindel's only strength 4, so why not just give him the ability to reroll wounds and have +1 to wounds?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay,
Yeah.
like he's a caster. And usually casters have like 3 will, which limits their potential to do it. He has 4.
Yeah,
And he also has the rule, the shipwright, I think, rule. I
the
think.
shipwrights rule.
Yeah, which gives him a free will a turn.
But he also has magic resist. So if you want to cast on him, he can just throw an automatic freebie to block.
Sure. Yeah, I've played against this guy once, and I got lucky to get a sap will off on him, and he rolled like a 1 to resist.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 6 to get rid of his 3 remaining will. Otherwise, the game would have gone from me having a chance to win to me not even bother playing anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was like...
Yeah, I've played a couple of times against him already, and it is just...
Like, he's not that hard to kill himself.
He's not, because
No,
he's only defense 5, I think, right?
Defense 4.
Defense
He's,
4?
he's really weak, but...
Yeah, but the
You're not
problem is
getting to
you
him.
can't get to him. You can't shoot him,
No.
because you need 6s to just even land a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention get past everything. And then when you get up close, then everything's causing terror.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a problem to even get a charge off.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't engage in shooting fight.
No.
I don't know, it's just...
Oh, and then we didn't even talk about the other 2 big utility characters. There was R1, who now gets the upgrade from Nature's Wrath to Wrath of Bruinen. So she gets that ability to
Free
blast
heroic
you
Yep.
for the free heroic channel Nature's Wrath, essentially. And then you get Lindir.
Mhm.
And Lindir gives Elrond a free point of will every turn to cast spells.
Plus it gives magic resistance
To all Rivendell elves within 6 inches of him. So it's just stacks on stacks on stacks of buffs,
Mhm.
and this ability to play every phase really well.
But wait a second, the twins went up by 20 points.
Yeah, like you're not taking the twins
cool.
in this list.
It's like the twins got a point increase to make them
Yeah.
where they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's going to take them because even if they didn't get the points increase, no one's going to take them because of the stuff that's better.
Yeah,
I know.
like you have the ability
I
to.
thought I would throw that in there. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
one of the very few nerfs.
Downsides for the list. Minor point increase to the twins.
And there is actually one other one. The what's that spell singer guy or what's
Oh,
that?
yeah,
Oh,
Weather
the wild
wizard?
channeler or something
a
like
high
that.
call.
No one knows what the
No.
name of it is
Yeah.
because no one takes them.
Yeah.
Well, he actually did start to become popular
'Cause
in,
of Call
in
Winds.
the last edition because of Call
It's a
Winds.
Stormcaller.
Yeah, Stormcaller.
That's it.
But like he did get nerfed also.
Yeah.
Because the spell got worse and harder to cast. Again,
And he only has
a
three.
double tap. That didn't need a
Mhm.
double tap. It only needed a single tap.
Yeah.
Gildor's there still.
Yeah. You'll never take him, but he's there.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have some sort of like pull in some wood elves with some throwing weapons, sure, Gildor's there. He's your man. But everything in this army got buffed. Like almost everything that you were wanting to take got either a minor buff to a big buff.
Yeah.
Their ability to play the movement game with Rivendell Knights grabbing backfield objectives, going off and reconnoiter, to playing magic, to just blasting your opponent with Wrath of Brunins like crazy
Yeah.
to knock them down. And in Elrond's case, if you brought Lindir, doing it every turn
For free.
for free.
Well, on the upside, I was kind of getting tired of playing against the twins.
That is true.
Yeah, that's one bonus. Is you're trading the twins for like
For something even worse.
Glorfindel or Gil-Galad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh, we didn't talk about their armor bonus. They stand still, they're already great.
They get one of those too?
Yeah, if they stand still, they're already great shooting is even better. Now that one's situational because as we've talked about,
What is it, a reroll?
you reroll hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reroll hits. Now, let's be honest, if you're standing still, it's very situational. It's generally in like to the death when you have a banner and your opponent doesn't. And you're like, I can stand still and just shoot you.
Well, it was like when I've played them, it was with Círdan, and they were doing that every turn.
Right.
Because they're like, I'm going to stand here, and you can do nothing, and I'm going to shoot at you and reroll my misses.
because I have blinding light up, so your
Yeah.
shooting does nothing, and mine
Yeah.
is super good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of buffs.
Yeah.
Again, though, I mean, if you're playing missions with objectives,
That army bonus will have
Like
the army bonus and is it Círdan?
Círdan.
Círdan Círdan's a lot less awesome if the army has to move around.
We didn't even get
You have to
into
separate.
Yeah.
like the allies matrix. Like these guys are allies with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Like green allies. I mean, like they're green allies.
Well,
with a
the
lot.
green ally, if you're worried about your strength 3 warriors, just green ally and some Numenor. You've got Elendil, and then you've got strength 4 warriors.
Yeah.
With defense 6 elves in the back, or sorry, fight 6 elves in the back with spears.
Well, like, I don't know if we mentioned that about Numenor, like, one of the reasons why they're good is because Rivendell are green allies for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you take Isildur,
Mm-hmm.
and then like a big elf hero like Glorfindel, and hey, now you can use your ring.
You can use the ring now, yeah.
You've
Yeah.
got these troops that are really good fight 4,
Yeah.
strength 4 frontline guys with these fight 6 spear elves in the back. Well, I guess you can't take spear elves unless you take Gil-Galad, but still, like you can take Gil-Galad and Isildur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
it's, like they're definitely by far the biggest winner.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Definitely.
So don't play them because they're not good. Play something else. You should play like Isengard.
Don't play Rivendell or Corsairs if you want to play any of the list. Just avoid all of it.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's sum up.
go from the bottom to the top.
Okay, so the biggest hit armies were the Rangers
Yep.
Mordor,
Mordor, the Shire,
Shire.
and Isengard
Isengard,
was the big winner of
of the loser bracket.
the biggest winner of the losers.
Yeah. For winners, we got Army of Thror.
Mm-hmm.
They
Came in
took
at number
a
5.
bonus.
Numenor was number 4 with their green allies of Rivendell.
Yeah.
Corsairs.
Was
Yeah.
number 3.
Rohan was number 2.
And number 1, the
Rivendell.
most improved army of all.
Rivendell. That's yeah.
Yeah. So that's our summary of the best and worst of the Middle Earth edition. And if you agree or disagree, post some comments below.
Yeah.
And thank you, Drew, for being our special guest. And you're welcome to join us at any time.
Thank you. Appreciate
You know?
it.
We're at a different location too.
We are, yeah. We're not in my
in your cool
my
basement,
cool.
where it would be a lot better to be than where
It is
At
really
least-
hot in here.
my
At least-
oven of a condo.
At least you're not hearing my furnace go on every few
That's
minutes.
in the summer, it'll be my air conditioning going.
Yeah.
Alright, so that was our list of the most improved factions
Yep, there's
in
special
Middle,
guest.
in Middle Earth with our special guest, Andrew Brock. And we will be back in a month or so to talk about our experiences at the King's Hall tournament.
Yep. Plus
Among
any
Whatever
new
else,
information that comes out.
whatever else is going on.
Hopefully this time there'll be a Herald of the Dead model.
Yeah, or some new ruffians maybe.
Eh. I'm okay with that. All I want is there to be a Herald before they go to the next stuff. Because if they go to the next stuff and there's no Herald,
They can't keep leaving all
that,
these models
that ship
undone.
has sailed.
Yeah,
as
like
they
the
say.
bats and
the catapult troll.
trolls. Like they don't need to add any more models to that list.
Yeah.
Let's keep that list at 2.
It's like, guys, it's like you're winning a race and you're right at the finish line, and then you
Yeah.
stop to give somebody a high five, and the guy runs past. Like, you guys.
The
come
new
on.
release is out already. All right, well that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in a month, and don't forget to get your toy soldiers out and come and play some games with us at the OSBGL.
Fun times.
Thanks, guys.